it goes and sticks in your colon. So, the waste material which should have easily flown out will not flow out of the system.
It's a hotbed for illness. That means your respiratory action and your thought process and your sense of smell will get lowered over a period of time. It definitely renders to you dullness. If you eat too much of tuberous material like potatoes and other tuberous substances, you will generate gas which is below the navel. Once you generate gas there, your prana between the navel and the pit of the throat will not function as it should, and the dynamism levels in your system will go down. Among the vegetables, things like radish, this is one of the few things which grow underground and still positive. Carrot, radish, all the other tuberous material like potatoes and potato family are zero pranic, but they cause what is called the stamas. Stamas means it brings a certain inertia into you. We generally advise students and meditators not to eat potatoes and its family because they increase the sleep quota. Both for the student who's studying and for the meditator, the biggest enemy is the sleep, you know. If you close your eyes and sit, if you open the textbook is a great tranquilizer, isn't it? And on top of it, if you're on a potato diet, you'll fall asleep instantly.
Dairy products have certain enzymes which are used today to manufacture certain textile adhesives. These adhesives are not water-soluble. So when you consume lot of dairy product, it goes and sticks in your colon. So the waste material which should have easily flown out will not flow out of the system.
The general alertness in the body and in the mind will go down by consumption of dairy products. At least those who come from the south, they told you even in your school, if you eat the curd rice, you will fall asleep. Yes or no? If somebody is sleepy, it's a common thing in South India, na, thair sadam saapittu vandiya. Everybody knows it makes you dull, but the teacher also eats, that's a problem. It is an established fact medically that in your present system, if you eat raw meat, it would take anywhere between 70 to 72 hours to pass through the system. If you eat cooked meat, it would take 50 to 54 hours to pass through the system. If you eat cooked vegetarian meals, it will take 24 to 30 hours to pass through the system. If you eat an uncooked vegetable, it will take 12 to 15 hours to pass through the system. If you eat a fruit, it will take 1.5 to 3 hours to pass through the system. Why is it taking so much time? Because essentially the alimentary canal in a human being is about 24 to 36 feet long, this whole pipe that's going from lip to the anal outlet. In all the herbivorous animals, this is a feature, that their alimentary canal is approximately 5 to 6 times the length of their body. In all the carnivores, it's only 2.5 to 3 times the length of their body. Or in other words, all the meat-eating animals have a very short intestinal length. All the herbivores have a long intestinal length. So, because vegetarian food passes through the system quickly, so the design factor of length has been designed like this. So when you eat meat and keep in the system for a long time, definitely it's a hotbed for illness. In many ways you will create it. Eating meat has become a part of our, in the culture in the world, because in many societies in the past, survival was the mode. When it's a question of survival, eat anything that is necessary to be eaten, that's a different thing. Once survival is taken care of, that's when you choose. Now you choose what kind of a body you want, what kind of function you want to perform, accordingly you eat. This is not about a taboo about eating meat. This is about eating more consciously. This is eating by choice. In the yogic tradition, if you cook anything, maximum within 1.5 hours you must consume. If there are certain types of items, up to 4 hours is okay. Beyond that, you don't touch. It doesn't matter how tasty it is, how nice it is, you don't touch anything because then you will develop gases in the system. Gas is not only in the stomach that you will feel obviously, but you will develop vayus in the system which will work against your pranavayu. That means your respiratory action and your thought process and your sense of smell will get lowered over a period of time. These three are very vital for you to be a vibrant human being.
The greatest factor of stress during international travel is jet lag. This confusion in your biological clock could be stabilized. Spine being the neuroconductor, it is of extreme importance. It is kept stress-free. Travel is a time when spine takes maximum beating. Taking special care regarding these two aspects of the spine could greatly relieve the stress. As your body is only a composite form of the food that you consume, to be conscious of what you ingest before and during the travel can play an important role in determining the stress levels that you experience during and after your journey. When the body is being put through speed travel, which involves crossing time zones, it is best to consume food substances with very high water content like fruits and fresh vegetables, and above all, to consume as much pure water as possible before, during and at least 24 hours after the completion of your journey. It is best to avoid intoxicants and stimulants like alcohol and caffeine. It is also best to avoid food substances which tend to remain in your stomach bag for more than 3 hours, like red meat, complex mixtures of carbohydrates and fats, and deep-fried foods. Spine being the neuroconductor, it is of extreme importance. It is kept stress-free and well activated for overall well-being. Travel is a time when spine takes maximum beating due to inconvenient postures that the body may have to take for long hours. In the yogic system, the spine is referred to as the Merudanda or the axis of your universe, as all individual human experience is essentially generated and transmitted through the spine. It is general experience that most people, when stressed, will notice stiffness in the upper part of the spine or the neck and the lower or lumbar part of the spine. Taking special care regarding these two aspects of the spine could greatly relieve the stress that tends to manifest in the form of spinal stiffness, which could further snowball into more serious problems of the spine. The greatest factor of stress during international travel is jet lag or confusion in the physical and energy system about the time zone into which you have traveled. This confusion in your biological clock could be stabilized by exposing your spine to sunlight either directly or through thin clothing for a minimum of 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day. This, along with other tools of Upayoga, could largely handle and minimize the period of jet lag.
If you want a great nation, you must do something to produce great human beings. There is no other way. If you want to produce great human beings, we have to facilitate and structure methods and systems where human beings are not curtailed. Every human being can find full expression to who he or she is. This is a structural thing which needs to happen, which is beginning to happen, but India has had a traditional system that people don't necessarily depend upon except for external activity. For their own development, they don't depend on any particular outside system. This is the reason, no matter what happens, you will see the country is not disturbed in a real sense as other nations would be disturbed, because there is an organic sense of being completely organized within myself. This is something that the entire world should get. This will be India's greatest offering, how an individual human being can be fully organized within himself or herself in such a way that no matter what happens, they will stay their course. There are many ways to look at this. No nation which has been occupied by very strong forces for over 800 to 1000 years has retained its culture or religion or music or clothing or anything, everything has changed. You just look at Europe, Arabia, North America, South America, Australia, Africa, everything has changed. This is one nation which has retained this because there never was a leader in this society. Everybody is self-organized by themselves. Is it not good enough if we have good roads, good bridges, good facilities? All these are important. But the most important thing is that if you sit here, you are complete by your own nature. This is the most important thing. Otherwise, you can sit in air-conditioned rooms and still boil inside of you.
If you made it this far, it's because something spoke to you on some level. Let us know where you're watching from, subscribe to the channel, check out the links in the description for more reflections. Because honestly, very few people make it to the end. Thanks, big hug, and see you in the next video.